proud. Yesterday we spoke to two of our local entrepreneurs who have done very very well, winning themselves 100,000 rand each, and an exciting a company that is going to be launched very soon around the area of Kwatatuza, where about 500 of young people will be employed as well. So very exciting news, I must say. This is just an added value of what we bring to you this evening. We're talking to a 25-year-old born in small town of the Eastern Cape called Grahamstown and raised in province including Northwest and KwaZulu-Natal. A pinnacle image of a child raised by a village and structured by the teachings of her grandmother, Nontutuzelo Nicolette Adele, as well. I'm talking to a young lady who holds who she is a graduate, holding an honors degree in sociology and development studies, and also currently an associate researcher for Vets Reproductive Health and HIV Institute. Beyond growing as a professional in her career, in her current job, she's also a master's student in sociology at the University of Johannesburg and also studying theology at the Aussies of Life Bible College. Where do you get all this time to do all of these things? Good evening.
Evening, sir.
So I'm here. This is
Ngiyabonga.
this is amazing. A 25-year-old. Where do you get time? God, when I my party, you know.
Amaphathwa nangiwahambi.
So-
But yeah, I guess when it's God's time, and He gives you the strength even when you don't
So
know.
God,
you get
God is a very instrumental.
Yes.
It plays a very instrumental role in your
Yes,
life.
yes.
Ah.
God is my foundation.
Aye,
And
man.
He's my everything.
Babu Aligule is also a photographer in our studio this evening. We'll post this picture. We'll post a picture on Facebook, and just to share with our listeners and what you're missing out. This is not a television, but you have to picture. You have to create your own
Your own world.
television. You
Mm.
know, have your own theater
Mm.
of mind. Radio. They say radio is a theater of mind. That's what we're bringing to them this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
No, we're talking
It is
about.
such an
Oh,
honor.
oh my goodness! I'm honored. I'm honored to talk to a vibrant young lady. Oh my goodness! We're talking about My Pain Perfected. That's the
Yes,
title
sir.
of your book.
Yes, my pain perfected.
Why?
I believe that at some point in your life, there's certain things that you go through that are a form of pain. Isn't busy different, some it's abuse, abanye it's death. The book deals a lot with death, the pain of death. It it speaks a lot about the pain of being rejected. It speaks a lot about the pain of heartbreak, and it also speaks about the pain of being abused. So it tackles a whole lot of different kinds of pains. So the title comes from getting to a point where you deal with the pain that you've gone through, and healing through it, and realizing that you ought to use what you've gone through to heal
So,
the second
so
person.
this book based on your personal experience.
Yes, it is. I call it an inspirational biography.
What happened?
I am a 25-year-old, as you've said, that is an orphan. I was orphaned at the age of 13 when my mom passed away through HIV. She was HIV positive. So in the book, I describe how it happened, and witnessing and seeing your mother pass away in front
So
of
you
you.
actually murdered your mother.
Not
In a way.
necessarily mothered, but I was present at the point where
What
she
do I
was-
mean? What do I mean by saying you murdered your mother? At some stage, you were expected to do
Yes.
to take care of her.
Yes. At some stage, I was expected to take care of her, but
At the age
also,
of 13.
At the age of 13,
Yeah.
but also more than anything, I was expected to raise myself, because when ukhuliswa ugogo, there's certain things that ugogo uyahluleka, because indlela yakhe iphela ngokukhulisa uma wakho. So she's expecting ukuthi uma wakho will then raise you,
Okay.
and so I had to then teach myself certain things.
Okay.
But her wisdom has been everything to me.
Okay.
I don't want to
You're talking about your mother. What about your father?
Yes. My father passed away in 1997. He was shot. But he passed away, I think it was about a month before we met for the first time. At that point, I was 6, turning 7. So the title saying my pain perfected speaks about perfection of time. Because I'm a Christian and I believe greatly in God. If you know the kind of numerical understanding of izinto spiritually, 7 is a number of perfection. uNkulunkulu wadala izwe in 7 days. So the gap between my dad and mother passing away was 7 years. And there's a whole lot of significance ka 7 even in the book. The book is 7 chapters. And in my 7th year of being saved, I have an installment called My Pain Perfected.
Wow. And I see the subtitle, if I can say, Finding Purpose Through Pain, yes. And this is what you found.
Yes. Yes.
And this is the book that we're talking about this evening.
Yes.
And it illustrates, it tells your story, in fact.
It tells every part of my story, the good and the bad.
How long did it take for you to write this book?
It took I started writing in March last year, but then I took a gap because when you're reflecting on your own life, that have happened to you, sometimes you just are uncomfortable about really putting it all out there. And so I was struggling a lot with putting it all there, and I took a break of about 3 months. I think it was between June and August, but then so by November, I believe I said pens down 23rd of November last year.
This is a very inspirational book, I must say. I haven't read it myself, but the story, listening to the lady in the studio, I must tell you, her name is
Simamkele.
Simamkele, okay. Simamkele Dial.
Yes.
But is it Diale or Dial? Dial.
So people say dial, some say dial, but anyone goes well with me. I'm fine with anyone because only Xhosas get English surnames.
It's Dial.
Dial. You can say dial or dial.
Okay. Okay. Now she's joining us this evening. If you'd like to talk to her, please call us on 011-732-1097, 011-732-1097. Now you're saying this is it has 7 chapters. Yes. Your book. It demonstrates the 7 number demonstrate a lot of things to you. Were there any points whereby when you were writing this particular book where you said, this is becoming even heavier now? Because you were actually putting all your emotions, I can imagine. You were putting all your thoughts, all your pains into a pen and paper. Were there any moments whereby you were like, oh my goodness, what am I doing now?
Definitely. I think I even have those moments now that it's even, coming out, that I honestly cannot believe that everything is all out there, but I can believe it at the same time, because if you read in the front, it says finding purpose through pain, and it says the path of being carried.
Yeah.
Because there's some things that you go through that you'll never realize that you're being carried by the hand of God. And until you've gone through it, it's been over you all of this time.
No, I know a bit of Bible. Yes. That is really true. This is really true. And I can imagine at the age of 13, due to HIV and AIDS-related disease, and but you carried through.
I did.
So, is there any lesson from this book? If I buy this book myself, My Pain Perfected, is there anything that I can take home and say, this is wow, this is going to actually shape me and change my life?
It will change the way you see yourself, firstly, because I think that because of izinto ezenzekayo kuthi at times, sometimes they are self-imposed and sometimes imposed by others.
Oh my goodness, self-imposed.
Yes. Yeah. There's certain pains ozifakayo nje kuyo where you just know that yabona lana ngizofa mara you go anyway. And so it doesn't matter what kind of thing you've gone through. My understanding is that in that you are being shaped and your character is being molded. And at the end of it, God has the capability of creating something that is very beautiful through it all, you know. But it's also a situation of finding yourself and finding who you are and what you've been called for and what it is that you were born for. Because I think a lot of us are just walking around not knowing why it is that we are on earth.
Okay, I'm looking here at chapter, I don't know whether it's chapter, I would assume it's chapter 4, where it says shaped for purpose.
Shaped for purpose.
Shaped for purpose, yes. Rather. Shaped for purpose. What are you saying there?
What I'm saying in that chapter is that you are born with a purpose. uNkulunkulu, it doesn't matter ukuthi ukhulele uzelelwe kuphi kwikhaya elinjani, in what circumstances you grow up in, you are born for a purpose, and that purpose is for God to be glorified through your life. And so izinto eziningi that will happen in your life will be a part of the building and the shaping you, you know, shaping your character, shaping who you are, shaping your mindset into understanding what it is that you are born for and what you are called for.
You know what? Let me just disturb you a bit there and read this line or this passage. While I was working and trying to stabilize my life, was my most silent time between God and I. It was a period of sharpening. I was being sharpened for the purpose that God was to reveal in me. The year passed, and the following year brought new hopes. I had no idea to deep things that God was to do in my life. 2015, nearing the middle of the year, realizing that I was about to turn 25, all my goals seemed to be on the standstill. I still had not completed my studies. I was still growing career-wise, but financially I felt like that. Yet that was not enough. God had to make me confront the reality that had been dark so far that I didn't even believe I was the one who went through it all. What was happening during that time?
During that period, ngizothi uNkulunkulu wangifaka in a room where he brought things that my subconscious had hidden. And it is when I realized, I say in the book that I've always known that I was abused as a child sexually by one person. So what happened last year was that in the process of kind of finding myself and all of that, uNkulunkulu wangifaka where my subconscious had hidden. And in that space he revealed to me, and I say he revealed to me not because I had not experienced the gap, but I think when something traumatic happens to you, especially as a child, your subconscious hides it. You know, it suppresses it. And yeah, I then came to the realization that I was actually abused by 3 different men between the ages of 6 and 9 years old.
Samamkele umsazi wakho hamba phambili from 3.6. We're talking to a young lady. She's well vested in knowledge, but however it is quite evident, according to what she's telling us this evening, that she has been through a lot, and that has inspired her to write this book, My Pain Perfected. And her journey has been something else. So you read this book, your life will never be the same anymore. And I'm reading the subtitle there, The Finding Purpose Through Pain, the Path of Being Carried. Simamkele Daya. Simamkele Daya. Emsazweni wakho hamba phambili from 3.6 your connection. Let's just take a short break. We're coming back after this.
Let's respect one another, because respect is not given. I owe my being to the hills of
It's a pain. I'm listening to that.
When I say
they are very thick-skinned. You can only be yourself true
wants to strengthen its relations with local NGOs.
That's
and
true.
Together
I would
move
not
towards
be
constructive
anything
development in our area, whether
without
through on-air discussions or any other community development means. Help us create a database by submitting your NGO's contacts and a brief profile of your organization to the station, and let's build our community from Takane to Blackburn, to Duza to Nigel, From Gotham to Springs and other local surrounding areas, we want to work with you. Submit your NGO's details personally at our offices for Ranani Multipurpose Center, 32019 Muchachi Street, Sakane, or send them by email to veli.numalo@gmail.com.
EKFM, your connection, your voice.
All right, akusikwamukele msazweni wakho phambili eCAFM. We're talking to some Simamkele Dial, saying that this book is dedicated to her late mother, Sipokazi Felicity Dial, and also dedicated to her grandmother, a woman of great virtue, and every woman who has poured wisdom into her life, shaping her thoughts and the way of life as well. Their efforts were not in vain, says Simamkele Diale. Dial, brother. Dial. Emsazweni wakho phambili eCAFM 3.6 your connection, your voice. Thank you so much. So this book is already available now.
The book is coming out on Friday.
This coming Friday.
Yes.
So where's the big launch? Yeah.
The big launch is in the Eastern Cape, where I am from.
Yeah.
On the 7th of May, and then I will be launching in Johannesburg in June.
Okay.
I am praying for the period of June 16, but the details for the Joburg launch will then be later released.
Yeah. Okay. So already, but the book will be available
The
as
book
from
will
Friday.
be available as from Friday.
As from
Yes.
Friday. What's the interest of the book from? I'm already having an interest. How much is it, by the way?
It's 150.
150, right?
Yes.
All right. I think this is a word. You know, we normally buy books that are written. I'm not being political here, but we normally buy books that are written by somebody whom
We don't
you
even
know,
know.
don't even know. Ohlala overseas, you've never even met. Here, you've got an opportunity to meet Simamkele Dial personally, and she's currently. Where do you reside, by the way?
I reside in Boxburg.
Can you imagine? Proudly Egoruleni, even though Ubuyale at Grahamstown. But obviously now she's one of ours. She's a South African, and we are not being racist, we're not being xenophobic by saying that. But it's very important, proudly South African.
Yes,
That's how we grow
yes.
gross domestic product. As South Africans, we buy our own products that are manufactured by us, and therefore we also contributing to growth of economy. But not only about growing the economy, it's about the wisdom that is vested into this book. So it's very important that we support you as well. But if I want to reach you, Simamkele, how do I reach you and to get more copies of this book?
Okay. So on Facebook, Dingo Simamkele Dial, and on Twitter it's at MyPainPerfected. And then a person can then call me on 063 293 1662.
Okay, let's repeat those numbers.
It's 063 293 1662, or email yami is simamkeledial@gmail.com.
Simamkele Dial. Let me just
Spell it.
Dial to our listeners.
I think spell no Simamkele. So
Not Simamkele. I want SIMAMKELE Dial. DIAL. Now the number that you can actually call 063 293 1662.
Yes.
Please don't disappoint me, listeners. I know you are good. You are very good. Please call her immediately after the show and order some books. No funny things, right? These numbers are not for
Thank you.
not for shelling, right? and doing all of those funny things. But you must call her just to say if you are inspired. I'm sure others are listening to us and saying this story relates to my situation now.